All right, is everyone ready? We're good to go? Okay, all right, good evening. This is the December meeting of the Anne Arundel County Police Accountability Board. My name is Jeanette Ortiz, and I am chair of the board. I would like to call this meeting on Tuesday, December 17, 2024, to order. So first on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the November meeting. And at the November 19 meeting of the PAB, we reviewed and adopted the substance of the 2024 PAB annual report minus data that we had to wait until the end of November in order to incorporate the data. So later on the agenda, we'll go ahead and review the report and hopefully adopt that with inclusive of that data. And we also received updates from the Office of Police Accountability. The video of the November 19 meeting, which everyone should have received and is also available on our website, serve as the minutes to that meeting. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes for that meeting?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the meeting minutes for November 19th are adopted and approved. Okay, next we'll move on to public comment. See, we did not have anyone sign up in advance. I don't know if there's anyone who is in attendance who would like to provide any public comment. We will accept that public comment now. Just a few friendly reminders before we get started. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to provide public comment. Speaker representing an organization shall have 5 minutes to provide public comment. A timer will be used to keep time. Once the buzzer sounds, please wrap up your comments. Any remaining time may not be allocated to another speaker. We ask that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences who may be watching the meeting. The board cannot discuss any specific cases. It is also not the practice of the board to engage in back and forth with speakers. So we can begin with public comment. If there's anyone, nope, it looks like everyone that is here is scheduled to be here. So if there's someone that pops in later in the meeting, we'll just take the public comment then, as we've done in the past. Okay. All right, moving right along, we have an update from Ms. Moya Panda, our Executive Director for the Office of Police Accountability. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Have some quick updates. The ACC finished their last case of 2024 yesterday, and they're going to be taking a well-deserved break until 2025. We do have 2 openings on the ACC. We hope to have that interviews by the end of January and have that filled back to our number of 5. So of course, if you know anybody who's interested, if the public is listening, please make sure that you ask anyone to apply that you think is qualified for the ACC. We'll do those interviews at the end of January. And I just want to thank you all so much for your help with getting this annual report together. We thank you so much for your feedback, your comments, and your edits. I look forward to finalizing it and getting it out to the county council members and the county executive. And again, thank you for all you've done in 2024. That's all that matters to me, that you did so well. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you so much, Ms. Panda, and thank you to you and to Ms. Rogers for all of your help in getting, coordinating and getting all of our feedback and comments and working through all of that data for the report. We know that's not easy, and our report is a very substantive report. I have reviewed reports from other PABs, which are also great, but I am biased, but I think our report is it's a stellar report. So thank you for everything that you do for us on that front. All right, so we are going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the law enforcement agency updates. In accordance with Maryland state law, the agencies are required to provide updates to the PAB on a quarterly basis. So this December meeting is one of those quarterly meetings. So welcome to the representatives from the 5 law enforcement agencies in Anne Arundel County. And so we will go ahead and ask you all to provide those updates. As you know, these updates are regarding, any complaints or information related to police accountability, police misconduct. That's our purview as a board. That's within our oversight authority. And obviously, we want to hear other things that are happening at your agency. So whether it's any events, activities, any new programs, any new hires, and obviously anything that you think would be helpful or something that you think may be of interest to us in the work that we're doing. So we will go with Crofton Police Department. I see Chief Jett. Welcome. Chief Jett, can you hear us? He may have stepped away. All right, well, we'll move right along. We'll come back to Chief. Oh, I see him come off mute. Can you hear us?
No, I'm having technical difficulties on my end. Stand by.
Okay, well, I'll move on to
Oh.
Anne Arundel Community College. And they're usually short and sweet anyway. We have Lieutenant Donato. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you for being here. And then we'll circle back with Crofton and see if the technical difficulties.
I will be short and sweet. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
So with once again, we've been blessed with another term of no complaints. I feel the need or the duty to just mention the fact that I feel like it's the nature of campus policing that we do not get a lot of the complaints that I would have seen in my other agency when I worked in Baltimore. So it's not that we're better, we're worse. Policing is policing. I will say that our staff has a lot more time and a lot more patience and a lot less call volume, which leads to a lot better service. In the bigger agencies, the officers are rushed to go call to call to call. They're usually on less sleep. They're dealing with more stress. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact of policing that the less rest you have and the more you have on your plate, the less you can appear to care. So we're blessed with that here. We have a 30-man staff and we do work 24/7, but we don't have a lot of the proactivity. We don't have a lot of the same call volume that the bigger guys have. And a part of that is that we do push service first. So that's all I want to say. We haven't had a complaint. We've had a couple situations where people were in academic problems and that led to our agency interceding. But again, that wasn't really police work per se, and we navigated that for both sides. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that perspective. Just, with your background, having worked at a large, busy agency in the state of Maryland and having that perspective of the workload of officers around the state and in the county, and how that, may impact work. And then obviously just the nature of what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis is going to be different than campus policing for sure. So, thank you for that perspective. And we know that, just based on your reports and the chief's reports in the past, that you all work really closely with the administration and the student body to kind of build those relationships in that community and rapport. So we appreciate that as well. Are there any questions for Lieutenant Donato? All right, seeing none, thank you so much, and have a happy holiday. We will see you in 2025. Thank you.
Same to everybody. Thank you.
Take care. All right, Chief Jett, hopefully your technical difficulties have been resolved. Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I
Great.
apologize, everyone. I'm Zoom meeting from my car because I have a winter concert with my son tonight. So I'm trying to do a couple different things at one time, but season's greetings, everybody. I don't know if you can see my video. Like I said, I'm got a couple difficulties on this end, but we're handling it. We have had no complaints in this quarter coming up, so we really have nothing to report on that end as far as complaints go. We've been involved in several different season holiday events. We've done Shop with a Cop. We've done, we were just out with Raising Cane's last night and the Washington Commanders, giving away 100 bikes to the Boys and Girls Club. Santa's made like 3 visits to Crofton. So we've been very busy with the season holidays, but you know, it's all about being part of the community. The requests pouring in for us have been overwhelming at times because, like I said, there's only 5 of us, so it's hard to spread thin. I got a couple of my guys working tonight. One's doing another community event, self-defense class, and just situational awareness in conjunction with like Vong's martial arts in Crofton. So we're really expanding our reach. As you know, as limited as we are, we're really trying to get out there in the community. But as far as the like I said, the complaints go, we have had none. So that's really all I have to report at this time. If any questions, I'll be more than willing to take some.
Thank you so much for that report and the information. And thank you for taking the time from, from your personal schedule. We hope you enjoy your son's concert. That's always a nice part of the year. I remember those days. My kid's in college now, so no holiday concerts for me. And thank you for sharing, the information regarding your involvement in the community. I feel like you guys are always involved and out there and doing so many activities and events, and it's like small and mighty, the work that you're doing. And similarly, I think that just really goes a long way to build those relationships in the community and the rapport, which is so important in the work that you're doing. So thank you for that. Are there any questions for Chief Jett? All right, well, thank you so much. Happy holidays, and we will see you in 2025. Thank you. All right, next we have Indianapolis Police Department. I think we have Acting Lieutenant Hipsky here this evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Am I working this time? Last time I had some technical difficulties.
You're good to go.
Hello, happy holidays. Ours is actually going to be short as well, in keeping with the theme that seems to be of the evening. So we've had our 41 complaints since July of 2022 for our external stuff. Happy to report that we are currently sitting at 0 for the quarter to date. So no new ones to advise on. No trends that we've really identified outside of some vehicle related stuff. I think we kind of went over that in the last time. As far as our community engagement is concerned, we have a very active community services department. They do a lot of things. They did 11 community events in October, and then we have our character counts, and then we also have our PAL. PAL in October was 18 events consisting of boxing, chess club, and volleyball. November, they did 15 total community events, 11 character counts, and then they did boxing and chess club. That was 12. And then in December to date, to when I got these metrics from community services, they'd done 5. They'd done 5 character counts, and then they'd done 8 PAL activities, which was boxing and chess club. So they're definitely out there doing their work and making sure that we're out in the community doing those things. As I always like to do, is as far as it was my favorite time last time, and I think I'll continue the theme. Had some good compliments that we've gotten over the course of time. A couple of them actually, and I'll just highlight a couple cool ones here. Some of them are a bit lengthy, so I'm not going to go into the great detail, but I'll just summarize them. We had somebody who was saying that they had attended the boat show, and they were downtown. Their kids wanted some of like the sticker badges. And the officer said, "Oh, we don't have any." But they went. This person went off to the ice cream store, and one of our officers came up and found stuffed animals for the kids, and they were very thankful about that. They said it was a wonderful gesture. The 2 children, they were thrilled. They said they thought they would end with the thank you note that they crafted that evening, and then the following day, while they were at lunch, they said another police vehicle and 3 officers were spotted by the children. The 5-year-old asked if they could take a picture with the newly acquired tablet, and the officers agreed, posed. They even turned on the emergency lights for them, and the officers were in the photo. It was just a good moment to be able to interact with the community there. This person was very happy about that. Had a couple other ones that I thought were good. Like I said, I won't go into great detail, but vehicle related things where people's vehicles had broke down and they wanted to spend some time specifically complimenting us on the fact that, the officers took the time to really make sure that everything was good. I thought this one was cool, and I'll end with this one because it's kind of one of those up and down kind of a thing, where so this one, this is from November 7th. This person said they had car trouble in the heart of Annapolis. They heard the noise and they knew the police station was a short distance ahead, so they carefully drove into the parking lot. They said after assessing, they didn't have a flat tire. They flagged down a police officer to ask for assistance. They checked the car and they figured that there was problems with the brakes. And then they kind of went through that process and said they believed the officer was off duty because they weren't in uniform. So they informed them another officer was coming to assist them. So one of our other officers showed up and said, "Hey, what's up, Cap?" And this person said they were shocked that a police captain was on the ground with a flashlight checking out their wheel. They said, I know now that it was one of our captains, our acting captains that was assisting them. He turned the responsibility over to the officer who stayed with them until they were sure that a tow truck was coming. Then they offered to stay with them and wait. And then they actually ended up taking their cell phone number and calling and checking on them. So they were very happy about that. I thought that was kind of a cool one as far as, just kind of highlighting some of the things that we do there. Nothing really else major to report. We'll take any questions if there's any. Like I said, we have a few other compliments, but I thought those were a couple of good ones to highlight. I was happy that I had a stack of compliments today instead of a stack of complaints. So.
Thank you so much. Yes, we agree. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing all of the events. That's great. No complaints in this quarter. I think that's really great, especially for an agency the size as yours, that as busy as yours. So that's really good to hear. Are there any questions for Acting Lieutenant Hipsky? Okay, I have one question. And I'm sorry if you mentioned this. So the boxing and the chess club, where do you host these? Are these things at like community centers, at schools? Do you rotate around the city?
I'm not sure specifically where they have them right now. I can check in with Corporal Davis, who does our PAL boxing. I'm not sure the exact location where they're doing that. So I'd have to look into that and get back to you as far as the location's concerned.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was just curious. And this is just something that your colleagues are doing within the community with children. That's excellent. Great. Thank you so much. All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you.
One question, possibly.
Yeah.
Lieutenant, I was trying to see if you all had any special concerns that have developed since the weather has gotten cold. Any community members need any special assistance from your team, from law enforcement?
I know that for cold weather and things like that, we do pay very close attention to it. Also for us in the city of Annapolis, the Office of Emergency Management is very much on top of that. So we do partner with them and we work on making sure that those are all things. I haven't heard anything specifically on my side, but I do know that I see the emails come out and things like that. But that's something that if there is a specific need, I'm sure we would send something out about it, but we definitely partner with our different resources to do that.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2025. Okay, next we have Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. We have Corporal Gross and Captain Van Orsdale. Welcome.
Welcome. Since July 1st, 2022, we've had a total of 34 citizen complaints of misconduct. That includes the 2 complaints of misconduct received since the September 23, 2024 board meeting. The two new complaints involve deputies' conduct toward the public, and the second one is deputies' abuse of authority. Since the last meeting, we've had 19 community-based programs, including Purple Lights Nights event in observation of National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Chesapeake Canine Fund, 6 trunk or treat events, Santa runs for collection of food for the food bank, 2 programs involving toy sorting for schools, and with so many of the other law enforcement and public service, shop with a cop.
Great, thank you so much. And it's great to hear that you, again, small and mighty, out there and, you know, in the community with all of these community events. It's really great
Thank you.
to hear that. And, you know, we really appreciate you sharing that information with us and with the public, because it's important for folks to know, you know, what all of our agencies are doing to be more involved with the community and build those community relationships. Any questions for the sheriff's office? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much. Happy holidays, and we will see you in 2025.
Thank you from the sheriff's office. We'll see you then.
Take care.
All right.
All right. And last and certainly not least, we have Anne Arundel County Police Department. We have Captain Ashburn and Lieutenant Ott. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Captain Ashburn with the Anne Arundel County Police. I'm in charge of our Office of Professional Standards. I just want to touch on a couple of things as far as training. We're always looking for new and improved ways to conduct our investigations. We had 2 detectives and 2 sergeants attend a 5-day conducting proper and effective investigations training through the Dago Law Group. And Lieutenant Ott attended a 4-day investigating complaints against police personnel through Versaturn training. Some of our community events that we've had throughout the past couple months is our monthly PCRC meetings at each district, the Community Police Academy, which several of you graduated from in November. We had several trunk or treats, the Chief's Business Advisory Council meeting, the Faith in Blue events supporting our faith-based partners, the Bikes for Tykes event, several Christmas tree lightings, Toys for Tots, and obviously the bigger one is the Shop with a Cop. I'm going to let Lieutenant Ott speak on behalf of our numbers throughout the past quarter.
Good evening, members of the board. Since July 1st, 2022, as of the date of reporting, we're at 158 complaints containing allegations of police misconduct. 109 of those involve members of the public. Since the previous quarterly report, we have 6 additional complaints of allegations of police misconduct and 1 additional case moving through the mediation process. And since the last quarterly report, we're up to 22 formal complaints through our portal system, or compliments through our portal system, varying from interactions with citizens, positive phone calls, letters, and they get filed in the officer's personnel jacket in accordance with the law. In addition to the data, I did attend a IA leadership group meeting statewide of internal affairs commanders to talk about trends in MPAA and its inception and how we're operating as IA groups. And that's all I have to report. Thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for that information regarding the complaints and the status of those, and involvement again with the community, all of the community events. I know that, when I did the police academy, that was such a great experience and provided a lot of insight for me and my colleagues here on the board. So certainly if any of the members that are, just finished with the academy wanted to say anything about that, please, more than welcome to do so. Any questions for Anne Arundel County Police Department or comments?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Ott, you mentioned that you went to the training with the IA members around the state. The trends that you were seeing, how does Anne Arundel County compare to the rest of the state?
There is a lot of inconsistency in the application of the MPAA, and that's But
We
it's
concur.
informative. I would say we're way ahead of
Agreed.
everything going on around the state. And when I say inconsistency, it's unfortunate. A lot of the smaller counties are way behind in how they're understanding the MPAA. What is, I mean, basic things. So it is, but it is hopeful. The MPCTC is looking at putting together internal affairs training to better understand so there's a consistent application of what police misconduct is to hopefully get everybody up to speed. So it's certainly not the larger counties where I'm referencing. I'm talking, the smaller ones that just aren't, at our level for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And, Moy and I kind of chuckled because we went to a statewide forum on PAB and ACC chairs and staff and agency representatives, and it was a little overwhelming. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of, whether small or big counties, a lot of differences in how people were interpreting the law. And I think that, to your point, the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission, the more that they're able to provide training, because, in the beginning, they were understaffed and unable to do that. They were trying to just train up all the ACCs, since the administrative charging committees were doing, the investigations. They had to make sure they were all trained up. So I never remember the acronym, so I just say the whole name, the Maryland Police Standards and Training Commission. Since they've had a little bit more, I guess, time, they're able to provide training for PABs members, which I know several folks on this board have participated in. And it's great to hear that they'll be doing IA training, because I very long-winded way of saying that I think the more training, the more consistency, and folks are hearing the same thing, and having that technical resource will be very helpful. But yeah, we heard a lot of different interpretations, and to be fair, there are just things in the law that are a little nuanced. And, as an attorney, I'll make the attorney comment. Don't be offended, Tom, but you get 10 attorneys in the room, you'll probably get 15 different interpretations, and so you'll have different perspective. And Moya, 3 attorneys here, different perspectives and how folks view things. So hopefully, as we're in, a few more years in, we'll see more consistency and alignment with how folks are doing things. And just, with the small counties too, unfortunately, some of their local governments not as supportive of the law, and so weren't necessarily pouring the resources necessary for, whether it's the law enforcement agency or the PABs or the ACCs. So anyway, thank you so much for those updates and for sharing that perspective. And then, of course, if you're hearing, you talked about trends, if there's anything you think that would be helpful for us to know, to share, please let us know. Or if you start hearing about trends in other jurisdictions from your perspective, maybe in the next report or whenever you're next before us, that would be interesting, for us to hear what the IAs are seeing around the state and what your colleagues are telling you. So any
There's
questions?
one county that's 60 trial boards in the hole. So we're definitely very fortunate.
They're busy.
Yeah, very, very busy.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Any other questions for Captain Ashburn or Lieutenant Ott? All right. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2025.
Thank you.
All right. So that concludes that portion of the agenda and the law enforcement agency quarterly updates. Next, we will move on to the annual report. As I mentioned at the start of this meeting, we adopted the substance of the report subject to technical corrections. So there have been a few technical corrections back at the November 19 meeting, but we needed to add the data. So that's what we're really focused on today, is the addition of the data, because the data came in at the beginning of this month. We track from like to the end of November. So all of our reports start from like the December 1 of the previous year through November 30 of the current year. And so we needed to make sure we had all that information. So Jen, did you want to pull it up on the screen where we can, I guess we can kind of go through I don't remember if it was it already formatted when we reviewed it last time? I can't remember. Anyway, it was beautiful. It's lovely. You've done an awesome job. So thank you so much. So we added a table of contents. That was a recommendation that I believe came from Office of Law. So thank you so much for that. And then these are introductory letters from me and Miss Panda. Provide the history and purpose. It's just giving background on the state law and also the accompanying county law. And then here is background on all of us and Office of Police Accountability. And then these are just some, summaries of all the meetings that we had in the last year. Of course, training and professional development that we've all participated in. And then now we're getting into like the meat, right? Which is the complaint process. So we like to provide that background here. And that information is also on our website. This report will also be on our website. Information on the Administrative Charging Committee and the membership. And so this is the data that was added. So this is the new substantive information. And basically goes through ACC determinations and trend summary. Hopefully folks had a chance to look at what Jen had sent out last week. And it goes through all of so this is for ACC, so it's the totality of the work that they've done this year. And then internal and external cases, remember that the law, correct me if I'm wrong, Moya, our oversight for it's police misconduct against a member of the public, but those complaints can come from a member of the public also, or from someone internally, like another colleague, right? So that's sort of making that distinction here. And for me anyway, and I don't know how others feel, but it's good to know that that folks are comfortable making internal complaints and that you don't have this sort of like wall of silence that I think folks, we've seen in the past and that folks are concerned about, so that, officers are holding each other accountable. So this is broken down by the agencies, and you'll see since Arundel Community College has had 0 complaints, they don't have data to report, which is why it's left blank. But we did want to account for the fact that they are one of the agencies, so they are represented. And then these are, the types of cases that have come before the ACC, all the different types of allegations made and charged. And then those that were not administratively charged. So again, once the ACC, there's an internal investigation, the chief will make a recommendation, the ACC will review that and make their determinations based on their investigation. And so sometimes these are not charged. Corrective measures. And some of these remind me, Moya, so the law, and this is in our recommendations too, because the law is like, oh, is there discipline or there isn't discipline? But there are cases that don't rise to the level of discipline, of official discipline, but the ACC has chosen to maybe make recommendations of, hey, maybe this agency needs to update their training or their guidance on this issue if they're seeing a particular kind of repeat of a type of complaint. Maybe they just need to train up on that a little bit differently, or, perhaps an officer should consider doing a certain training, right? So that's something that our ACC has proactively done, even in instances where maybe discipline was not appropriate, but I don't know if you wanted to comment on that, Moya.
Just wanted to jump in. We can, the ACC can make recommendations to the agencies themselves about things that they see. But if an officer is not charged, they do not recommend additional measures. They have to be administratively charged before they're recommending additional measures above the discipline.
Got it. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. Any questions so far? Sorry, I know I'm going through this quickly. Let me run through, make sure I'm not missing anyone. Okay, all right. And then trial board summary of the trial boards that we've had. We've had 8, 4 were canceled and 4 were completed. And then these are the breakdown of the agencies.
Can I just jump in really quickly?
Yeah.
What I think is interesting about this slide is that just the takeaway for everybody is that we provide a civilian member for trial boards for agencies outside of our typical 5. So in the middle of the slide there, you'll see we've had a request from the Maryland Department of Transportation Authority, the Maryland Department of State Police, the Natural Resources Police. So it's not necessarily an ACC case, but because it happened in our county, we provide the civilian member of the trial board.
Thanks for that, Sean. That Jen, I saw Sean's hand raised.
Yeah,
Thank you for
and
that information.
Oh, yeah. So I have a question, and I don't know why I didn't think about this when I was first reviewing, where it says canceled. Will there be a question of what that means? Like, do we need to do an asterisk and tell why it was canceled, or am I digging in the weeds? I don't know why I didn't think about it when I was looking at this before. Just you said it out loud, and I was like, what I want to know, do we need to let people know why it was canceled? Like, do we need to do an asterisk or something?
I mean, they were canceled for different reasons.
Okay.
So my concern would be we'd start listing
No, I
1,000
agree. And I'm not
reasons.
saying, I'm not saying go back and shoot. I just,
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't connect with me when I was just reviewing it on my own. But hearing Jen, say it out loud, I'm going cancel. Why was it canceled? Am I going to want to know, like whoever's getting this report, are they going to want to know
Yeah.
why?
I mean,
So just
anecdotally,
a
I
thought.
believe a couple of the officers quit, and I think somebody negotiated a change to the discipline or something. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. I see Tom.
Yeah, I see Tom's hand. Go ahead, Tom.
Good evening. So I attended a recent training with Wayne Silver on the Eastern Shore, and this issue came up of the training of civilian trial board members, and that we have 13 people in the hopper ready to go. And he just gave us great compliments in front of the rest of the state on that. So kudos to Office of Police Accountability for their activity there and having all those folks ready to go. It was noticed, and they were very excited about that.
Thank you so much for referencing that. Yeah, I know that Moya and Jen have been working, diligently to ensure that they identify folks that could be good matches for trial boards. It may be individuals that applied to be on the ACC or the PAB and maybe didn't make it through because, we've gotten so many applicants in the past, but still would, we felt could be very helpful in the capacity of being a representative on the trial board. So that was something that we were early on, just really wanted to get some folks trained up and make sure that we were ready in the event that trial boards were requested, because we just didn't know, everything was new. So thanks for sharing that, Tom. It's really great to.
Yeah, and if I can just add really quickly, we're very lucky that those members take this very seriously. One of them has even re-attended training just to make sure he had a refresher because he hadn't yet attended a trial board. But they take their job very seriously on that, and so I think we've got some really good people serving there.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. All right, and then of course the recommendations that we went through at the November 19 meeting, we're able to put in some, I don't remember if put in some data there. So these are the recommendations. And then we have a disposition data here with some definitions for folks. and then a breakdown of the status of cases by agency. Again, Anne Arundel doesn't have any, but we just wanted to make sure they were accounted for. And then additional resources, which is linked. These are links to our previous annual reports and also information on complaint submission, our webpage, the ACC webpage, and the statewide police discipline matrix for members of the public to kind of, and elected officials and policymakers to have in one place. And as I mentioned earlier, this information is also on our website. Any additional questions or comments?
Great job, ladies. Well put together. Love the new graphics. Just great job.
Yes, just excellent, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your work and effort into this report. It's very important. And, you know, as we say, the more we have all this detailed data, and so it's great, you know, hopefully next year, right, we've started to be able to identify some trends, and the more, you know, years that pass and the more data we're able to analyze, you know, we'll be able to really kind of pinpoint those things that we can share with our elected officials and policy makers. All right, well, if there aren't any additional questions or comments, do we have a motion to adopt the 2024 PAB annual report with the inclusion of the data that was added?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Or raise your
Aye.
hand. Any opposed? All right, wonderful. So we've officially adopted our report. As Ms. Panda stated, she'll send that to the county executive and county council once it's all finalized. It will be on our website. I will also share that with our delegation members, members of the committees that have oversight over law enforcement issues in the General Assembly, as we've agreed to. And obviously you'll have access to it as well, and you can share it with folks that you think, you know, would be interested. I see Jen.
Yeah, just really quickly, now that you guys have approved it, we'll also send it to be translated into Spanish.
Okay.
That process usually takes about 30 days, but once it's completed, that will be available on our website as well. And then we will also get printed copies distributed of both the English and Spanish version to all of the libraries.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that reminder. Yeah, that's excellent. We have such a growing Spanish-speaking population in the county, and it's obviously very important that they also have access and availability to read this report. Moya.
I just wanted to remind you all as well that even though it's been adopted, we will be reviewing it again for any spelling errors, grammatical errors, etc. So that's the only thing would be changing, nothing substantive, just, you know, those errors if we see any.
Yes, try to catch the typos. If there's, and it's like once you've been looking at something for so long, it's just, you know what it's supposed to say. You don't catch the things, but I think between all of us, we've done a pretty good job. All right, well, this is wonderful. Thank you so much. This is like such a big lift, so very excited that we've come, you know, that we have such a great report to share with those who are making those decisions that impact, you know, the work that we're doing. All right, so next item on the agenda is new business. So as Moya mentioned earlier in the meeting, we have 2 vacancies on the Administrative Charging Committee, and so we've been receiving applications. And obviously, if you know of anyone or any, you know, organizations that may have folks that might be interested, please do share. That information's on our website as well. And so in the new year, early on, we want to convene a subcommittee of about 3 folks, 3 or 4 folks, can't have a quorum, to review these applications. Those of you, Danny, Sean, who were here from the beginning, where we had over 100 applications that we had to break up into 3 groups to review all those applications. So we're not quite that, but if anyone is interested in being part of this review, and then there will be interviews, so you would have to be available for interviews or virtual. So there's a little flexibility there. Send me an email, let me know, and we'll go from there. Danny said we still have the rating sheet somewhere. I'm sure we do. Yeah, it was a lot. We had to do that. We were writing a report in just less than 6 months. So it was definitely, we were hustling in 22. So
I promise they'll make it easier on you this
yeah.
time around.
Yes. So, yeah, if you are interested, send me an email, let me know. And then I'll reach out and we'll coordinate with Jen and Moya as far as getting the applications and scheduling interviews. So that was that. Any questions there? Okay. All right. Next, any announcements? I know we have the reminder of please check your emails regularly, at least once a week, because it'll be quiet now because of the holidays. But then once the new year kicks in and we're back to a more regular schedule, and also we get, kicked out, and also you get information for trainings. If you haven't done your training yet, there's the security training, there's the implicit bias training, and those are online, and you can do them at your pace. You can start, stop, go back. But please have those done by the end of the year. And then those of us who like to live on the edge, who like to do the ride along up until the last day of the year, get those in. I'm coordinating mine. I will have it before the 1st of 2025. Anything else that I missed as far as training? I think we're
Nope,
good.
that's good.
Oh, and congratulations to those of you who just did the recent Community Police Academy with the Anne Arundel County Police Department. I hope you found it to be informative, and that you found it to be helpful in the work that we're doing here. So congrats. As I've mentioned before, it's a big time commitment, 3 hours every Thursday for like 12 weeks. So thank you for your time on that. Sean.
I'm just going to say, I talk about that all the time. Anytime I get in public with a group of people and we're talking about community or law enforcement, I'm like, do the academy. You will, the citizen, and I know they renamed it. It's a different name, right? What is it called now?
Community Police Academy.
Community Police Academy. I rave about it, and I tell everybody who even begins to think they want to complain about safety or police. I'm like, no, you've got to do that. I mean, it is like the best eye opener, the best eye opener to what our law enforcement deal with every single day. How dare we complain about what they don't do? Because they put up with a lot and have to deal with a lot. So anyway, I just need to say that because I spread that every time.
Thank you for that perspective. Jen?
I just want to echo that, and I want to say, in my role on the ACC, I found having attended the Community Police Academy and then also in particular the ride along really helpful. On my ride along, there was something that happened that I thought, oh, this citizen could make a complaint about this. And I think, just seeing like the officer handle it and walk through it, because, it felt similar to complaints that I had already seen in the short time I'd been on the ACC. So just want to say, like, I think both of those are incredibly insightful experiences and were really helpful for me, both being on the PAB and on the ACC.
Thank you for that perspective. And I do, one thing I remember, because, I ask lots of questions. I'm an inquisitive person. The lawyer in me just, always wants to ask, well, what about this? And what about that? And so I think they did I felt like the instructors were great about listening to like other perspectives, because there were certain things that I didn't necessarily agree with or I questioned, and they were really open to that feedback and constructive criticism. So I thought that was really great as well. Obviously I'm not an officer, I'm not doing their job, but I have my own perspective on things. And so, I never felt like I couldn't say something or I couldn't question them or I couldn't push back. on some things. So I really appreciated that they were, it was like good, engaging conversation and communication and back and forth. And, and we were able to ask questions and maybe push back or say like, oh, well, maybe you should consider doing it this way, or like, oh, whatever that may be. So that was, I found that to be really a good part of the experience as well. All right, any other announcements that I may have missed? Oh, our next meeting, shoot, I did not write it down.
Our next meeting is February 24th.
Thank you. So our next meeting is on our normal schedule, which is Monday, February 24th. And so we have January off. I do not have anything else. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, well, I wish everyone a wonderful holiday. I hope you get to have some time off to relax and, kind of decompress a little bit so that you're ready for the new year. And I'll see you in 2025. Like I said, if you're interested in being on this subcommittee to review the ACC applications and do interviews, please send me an email. And like I said, we can only do like 3, maybe 4. So if we get a lot of interest and you don't get selected, don't take it personally. We just cannot have too many, we can't have a quorum. And just a big thank you to Jen, Moya, and Tom for all of your support during these meetings, because folks see you here, but it's all the behind the scenes and all the emails and the back and forth and the, I always have a lot of questions. You're getting it, all the other work that you're responsible for. So just thank you for everything. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, and with that, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, happy holidays.
Happy
and
holidays.
Happy New Year. See you all February 24,
safe.
2025. Goodbye.
All righty.
Oh, this meeting is adjourned, right? That's what I'm supposed to say.